The carrot principle is about leading with the carrot and not the stick, and it's about showing appreciation to your entire team. One of the things that came from that book that really does apply to me every single day is that some people think that if you say how much you appreciate somebody every day or every hour, that it starts to lose its meaning. And that's like saying that if you tell your spouse, I love you too many times, that it starts to. And so that's always kind of stuck with me, is because, I want to tell people, thank you. And I want to say it in a specific manner. And I want to say it as close to the time of the thing that I am thankful for happening as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait a week and tell somebody thanks for holding the door for me, right? Like, you want to say it immediately.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Joao Camargo, and my guest here today is Allison Endicott, who is the CEO of Wirks Moving Storage. Allison, thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited for this conversation, Allison, as I am for most that I have here, but specifically because you are part of a very different organization than the usual guests that I've had on here today. So why don't we start off with you just telling everyone a little bit more about the company, who you guys help, what you do, and any context that you'd like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are located in Marietta, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta. We are a moving and storage company. So we serve household goods, so residential homes. Typically, we're going to be serving homes that are $350,000 and up for our area. That's typically going to be upper middle. And we offer storage services for their items while they're in transit. So if they're building a new home, we can help them with that. And then our movers will come in and actually help them move the furniture from one home to the other. We do have some white glove elements of what we do. So we do crating, we do, baby grand pianos, grandfather clock service. And so we've been in business since 2009. I have been with the company for, I think, going on 6 years now. I've been in my current role for about 2 years as CEO, and I have been I took over for Eric Wirks, who is the owner and founder. He's now chairman of the board and president.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've had a good run. 2022 was definitely a fantastic year for us, and we've been just kind of coming down from that high COVID times and learning a lot of lessons in that time.
Thank you for sharing that. I would love for you to also share a little bit more about your journey in business and entrepreneurship, whatever you like to call it, from joining Wirks Moving Storage, but also from before then. If you're open with sharing some of your trajectory, that would be cool to hear.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I don't have a very linear timeline. I guess I started in restaurant management when I was still in high school. So I would run a Stevie B's Pizza, and then I had gone from there to Panera Bread in management roles. So very much so frontline. During that time, I was going to college for business management with a specialization in HR. And when I graduated from there, I was assisting an entrepreneur who did low voltage technology. And I was in the capacity of managing the voice over IP phone systems that he sold, in addition to doing web management, primarily like blogs and things like that for the businesses that he worked with. From there, I came on to Wirks Moving and Storage as an admin, just looking for a change, looking for a place where I had a growth opportunity. And from that, I was able to work my way up. I kind of became somewhat of a CFO, and then I held the role of chief people officer because they didn't really know what to call me. I was doing reports facilitation, I was doing technology, and when the owner needed to step away to focus on his other business, I was able to step into the role of CEO.
That is awesome. Sounds like that opportunity turned into something really great.
It sure
Call
did.
it 6 years or a little bit after that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'd love to actually dive into that a little bit as well, because I think there are so many people who are part of business that are looking for a lot of these opportunities. Is there anything that you can think of that really allowed you to push through, maybe when sometimes things can get a little tough, the path ahead isn't so clear, but that allowed you to just keep driving forward, keep learning, keep improving yourself, and now being in the position of a CEO?
To keep learning, keep improving and growing. So I've always been a lifelong learner. For me, learning and having the opportunity to grow and develop has always been kind of not so much part of the process, but an actual reward. So when
Mm,
I have an opportunity to speak with somebody who knows more than me, who is more experienced than I am, I really do jump at those opportunities. I like being in the room with people who have more experience, who have seen more things, who can
mm,
answer questions that I don't even know that I have. And so I think that that element of my personality has put me in a unique position in all of my roles
mm,
to excel. Because if you're next to the CEO and you are somebody who loves learning, then you are naturally going to learn how to be a CEO.
That kind of gets like transfused to you. Like I was gonna use a scientific term, but my grade 10 science terms are here are kind of missing me. Um, but it's interesting because just from that proximity, it allows that to be transferred over. Then you start understanding, seeing the vision, and I think it even piques your curiosity. I'm not sure if that's also the case for you. Like you become more curious about learning certain things that you, as you said, you didn't know you had these questions before, but now you do, and then you start building on from there and there. Moving forward, is that kind of how you found the path to be as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're sitting in a meeting and somebody says a term that you're like, I don't know what that means.
Uh-huh.
Right. In that moment, like, I mean, you have a few options, right? You can pretend like you know what it means and then,
Hmm.
go about your life. You can do your own research to understand what that term means, or you can ask. And asking tends to be, I think a lot of people are scared to ask when they don't
Mm.
know something, but it can open up a really valuable conversation with somebody.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive. Go figure, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting. Sometimes we overlook that a lot. Tell me a little bit more about how you actually take um, I'll call them lessons, but more so of that trajectory and apply it to the business itself in being often curious to learn more in innovation, in trying to drive maybe the systems that you have going on to better help the customers. How do you apply all those things internally?
So I think that the technical term is called root cause analysis, and it's something that truly drives me. So when something goes wrong, the question becomes, what happened? Why did it go wrong? And with root cause analysis, if you ask why 5 times, a lot of time you'll actually get to the reason that something happened. So
Hmm. Hmm.
when somebody's late and you say, why were they late? Well, because they were stuck in traffic. Well, why were they stuck in traffic? Well, because the traffic light gets backed up at 8 a.m. because of the school that's dropping off. Well, you know, um, that alone tells you, well, if I'm scheduling my people in at 8 a.m., then I'm stacking the deck against them to get there on
Hmm.
time. So, root cause analysis has enabled me to lead more proactively
Hmm.
by trying to understand if something happens one time, I don't want to just react to it over and over and over again. I want to understand what caused it and then I want to fix it.
Yeah.
A lot
Hmm.
of times that comes down to writing SOPs, it comes down to documenting processes, it comes down to changing systems in minor ways to equate to better results.
Hmm.
So that my curious nature of not really accepting things at face value and
Hmm.
not accepting that the status quo is acceptable has
Mm.
led me to be a strong leader because I push my team to constantly identify the cause and react in a manner that mitigates the issue from happening again in the future.
I really like that. It sounds like it's having a lot of purpose and intentionality behind every single action. It's not like, hey, doing this because, yeah, maybe it'll get the results. Like, no, here's why we're going to take this action, or here's why we need to evaluate this situation to make sure it doesn't happen again. Here's why, having the intention, having the purpose. And then I would assume that internally that allows everyone to be aligned in a much better way as well.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any question that my team believes that they are constantly working towards building a better process. I love people. Managing is 99% about people, but what you want is you want to have processes that people can work that give them the absolute best chance at success.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, yeah, no, the whole team is involved in it. We're all rowing in the same direction to come up
Yeah.
with better systems, better processes, to have a better company.
Amazing. And Allison, are you a big reader just by chance? Quick question.
I do read. I
Uh,
do a lot of audiobooks,
okay,
more
okay,
so than reading. And I did hear
okay,
a
okay.
study recently that you absorb just as much from audiobooks. So I think I get to say that I'm a reader.
Yeah.
So yes.
No, yeah, and I wanted to ask that because I'm curious to hear if there's any specific book that you read or heard that really changed the way that you view company building or view growing a company or how you manage people, anything that really jumps out that you hold close to your chest of like, hey, this is something that was a great piece of information and now I'm using it in my day to day.
Absolutely. So I will. I don't know that I can necessarily rank it because each book comes with its own
Yep. Yep.
high points. What I will say is EOS, so Entrepreneurial Operating System. The book is called Traction. That
Mm-hmm.
book had a huge impact on how I operate. I think that it's nothing that you don't know, but it puts it in a way that you can really think about it as a system. And
Mm-hmm.
operating system is a great word for it. I do have a tech background, so I do program and code and stuff like that. And so thinking of things as an operating system for me just inherently resonates.
Mm-hmm.
So EOS is one that I would absolutely recommend if you're looking for the structure on which to grow your business. In addition to EOS, there are a couple books that come to mind. One is called The Carrot Principle. The Carrot Principle is about leading with the carrot and not the stick, and it's about showing appreciation to your entire team. One of the things that came from that book that really does apply to me every single day is that some people think that if you say how much you appreciate somebody every day or every hour, that it starts to lose its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like saying that if you tell your spouse I love you too many times, that it starts to lose its meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always kind of stuck with me, is because, I want to tell people, thank you. And I want to say it in a specific manner. And I want to say it as close to the time of the thing that I am thankful for happening as
Yeah.
I possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait a week and tell somebody thanks for holding the door for me, right? Like, you want to say it
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
And then the last book that there's a book called The Coaching Habit that's definitely worth reading. But then the last one that I'll talk about more in depth is called A CEO Only Does Three Things.
Mm-hmm.
This one is very adjacent to another book called The One Thing. Both are very focused on focus. Focus is a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's the
Yeah.
hedgehog principle from Good to Great,
Yeah. Yeah.
where the people and companies who win are the ones who are focused. They know their niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to Poor Charlie's Almanac,
Oh, yes.
and he
Yes.
talks about that he and Warren didn't invest in tech because they didn't understand tech. So it's that concept of you can be incredibly successful without being in these like quote unquote like sexy places like fields and
Sure.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? So getting focused on what you can do well. And if you stay focused on it, if you figure out the one thing that makes your job easier or makes everything else that you do unnecessary, then
Mm-hmm.
you as a leader can be as super effective.
Yeah.
Now, a CEO only does three things helps you then narrow that focus to the three things that you should be doing are people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do it out of order. It's
It's
people,
all good.
numbers, and culture.
Uh-huh. People
And
numbers.
so
Yeah.
if you do those three things correctly, the rest of your team should be successful and your company should thrive.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. One, I love getting more book recommendations. Two, I think it's so important to highlight because there's so much value in these books and that very successful people are writing that people just overlook. It's like here's everything that I've gone through. Please take it. And people are like, oh no, actually I'm okay. I'm like, what? No, take it, listen to it, absorb that value. Especially, I think the focus one is such a huge one. This might be Steve Jobs. I might be butchering it, and if you're listening and it's not Steve Jobs, my apologies. But I think he said, focus is not all the things that you're putting your attention to, but all the things that you say no to. It's everything that you get rid of so that you can actually focus on the main thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. I would love to also shift our conversation a little bit onto the company itself. You mentioned very, very briefly, maybe a downturn that's happening since COVID. Since COVID, talk to me a little bit, maybe about the challenges. I think it's important to highlight that when we're speaking about business, people think it's just sunshines and rainbows, but we all know that's not the truth. So tell me about some of the challenges that you guys are currently facing since that COVID downturn you mentioned.
Yeah, no, and I'm very open with our challenges because I don't think that they're anything to be ashamed of. Because if you're ashamed of it, then you can't look at it in a critical light and
Mm,
understand, your role in it. So in 2022, we did just under 10 million in revenue. We we posted a profit. It wasn't an incredible profit, but it was a profit. We were incredibly busy. Management was worn super thin. We were all
Mhm,
kind of like
mhm,
pulling our hair out and crashing hard. So what happened is we had a consultant come on. It caused some wounds that were kind of at the surface to open up more. Um, EOS will do that for you too, by the way, which is to
mm,
kind of expose within the leadership team what's not working.
mhm,
And so everything came to the surface, changes were made, and we actually switched from kind of the old guard to the new guard. The new guard was very top heavy because we were anticipating to have a very busy year, and you want to be ahead of a busy year when it comes to hiring, not behind it.
mhm,
What we did not see, and hindsight's 2020, is that the COVID times were a peak and that it was going to come down from that.
mm,
So we went into a decline. I think that there was a macroeconomic decline in addition to within our industry, in addition to within our market. And we kept our staff top heavy, thinking that it was going to turn. That
mm.
and when you look back on it, you're like, again, I can't emphasize enough, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
I know that January is the lowest revenue month for the year for me, but I know that it is a certain percentage. It's going to be between 6 and 10% of my revenue. So
Mhm,
even on a high water mark, I missed it, right? So
mhm,
we ended up doing like just over 5 million in
mm,
2023,
mm.
which, I mean, that's a pretty dramatic drop
Yes, yes.
in revenue. So in that time, we lost a good bit of our staff, both intentionally and voluntarily and involuntarily.
Mhm,
And we went into 2024 with a new management team.
mhm,
So switched out my sales manager, and that was one of the best decisions that I made because he came in with purpose and focus and got the
mm.
sales team to go from order takers, where people call in and they're going to book with you no matter what,
Yeah,
to actually selling.
yeah, yeah.
And that journey then took us to the point where we were making more money. Our revenue was going up, but our net profit wasn't.
Mm,
And so we actually had a year of losses because we were investing in the business. I got some professional videos made. We did a complete rebrand, which was very expensive, but very well worth it.
mm,
And we had to wrap our entire fleet, which is an incredible investment. Redid our website, redid all of our marketing materials, and so we just kept pouring
mhm.
money into this rebrand.
Yeah.
Um, and what I will say is that this year we are more profitable than we have ever been, and our revenue is on the uptick. And we have a super strong team that's super focused on culture, and
Mhm,
they're
mhm,
really driving the business to be better than it was yesterday.
mhm.
And it took a lot of just really rough days to get us here, but it's well worth it. I think we're a better company for it. We're a smarter company for it, and we're a little more world wise uh,
No, that's
with
awesome.
that.
Thank you for sharing that, and I think it's amazing to highlight that too because that valley of despair is where so many companies just like they stagnate, they maybe collapse. But if you're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and then able to walk out from the tunnel as you guys did, then that's where the massive potential, the massive growth can come from, and it's really awesome to see that. So thank you for sharing that journey. I felt like I went on that journey with you, so thank you for it. And it's interesting
Sure.
now. So tell me, so with the team fix, the rebranding, all these amazing things, what are some of those obstacles that can still stand in the way? Is it really now just a matter of having more of those opportunities for the new team to take care of? Is it just the internal systems? Tell me a little bit more about those hurdles too.
We are a service based business, and so I rely heavily on labor to deliver on my promise to my customers.
Mhm, mhm,
So, people will forever be the greatest challenge that I have.
mhm.
It will be attracting the right people, keeping the right people, and balancing their you always want to go for a win-win outcome. Like I don't want to be somebody who has an entire staff that can't afford to feed their kids.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I have challenges. For instance, the government in Georgia price caps movers. And so,
Mhm,
I can only go so far. So I have to be creative in the ways that I compensate my team members. And getting movers who are traditionally a hard labor. They're coming from a background. In, they're not incredibly future focused. It's very
Mhm.
much so in the now, getting them to see the benefits that I'm offering them that are longer term. That will continue to be a challenge, is for
Mhm.
me to learn how to speak a language and do it in a way that they absorb it and that I can do the greatest amount of good for them, both short term and
Mhm.
long term.
Mm. Interesting. I
Um,
think, yeah, no, it's great that you're sharing that too, because I think that ties back to the vision and the alignment for the company. Because if the goal, yes, the goal is to grow the company, it is to bring more revenue, it is to get more customers, all those things. But there's a way to make that happen, and it's through having a good team, a good support, and everybody really working towards the same thing. And then the impact for the customers happen, the business growth, but then everybody internally are also happy. And then just it's that positive loop cycle that allows them to feed into each other and keep growing even further.
exactly. Hmm.
Awesome. And I don't think I was going to ask this question, but I will ask it anyways because you've given me such a developed answer here. But I often ask this question of a magic wand. Like, let's say you had a magic wand, and there was just one problem, one obstacle in the company that if you just wave this wand, would allow you to hit your revenue goals, your growth goals, client acquisition, whatever those might be. If you wave that wand and solve just one thing in the company, what would you want to solve?
If I could wave a magic wand and it's one thing that I could solve,
Yeah.
um, it's it's truly going to be. I'm trying to think of how to phrase it, because you would say people, because again, like, I can go rent trucks, I can go buy more equipment, I can go do all this stuff. What I can't do is find people who share our values, who are willing to come in and do well. So I guess that if I could wave a magic wand, then I would have I don't know, I would have a machine that I could walk up to and, put a set amount of money into, pull a lever, and have the ideal um, mover walk out of.
Hmm.
Um, Somebody who, maybe isn't, ideally, I want them to know how to, like, pad wrap and use a dolly and lift boxes without hurting themselves. But
Yeah.
somebody who cares about the customer, who takes pride in their work, who has a lot of things I just can't teach. And yeah, that's what I would do with a magic wand.
No, I love it. Thank you so much for that. And I have one final question here for you, Allison, which is actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they had no idea who you were.
I
So,
love that Stephen
are you
Bartlett
ready?
style.
Yes, I humbly stole it from him because I love it. I think it's such a great section to add because it's oftentimes to add that value that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So I was like, hey, Stephen, if you don't mind, I'm taking it. So I did it. So here it is. Here's the question. What are one or two things that you do in your career and personal life that ensures you are available for your loved ones?
That I'm available for my loved ones. So one thing that I do is, and this may sound cruel, but it's not, is that I wake my son up before I leave for work, so that we can go have breakfast. So he does like to go to this little bagel shop that's around the corner, and even though I wake up at 4:30, I go to the gym, so it's usually 5:30, 6 o'clock that, no, it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock that I'm waking him up.
Mm-hmm.
It is a time that we get to spend together at the beginning of the day. I think it sets
Yeah.
the tone. Um, the other thing that I do, I mean, it's simple, but I get plenty of sleep.
Mm.
I think that a lack of sleep mm, makes you not your best self around anybody. And so I know people who are like, I can work off 4 hours of sleep. And I'm like, great. Like, I cannot. So
Yeah.
and taking care of myself in that very minimal way of ensuring that I have that rest,
Mhm.
I can take on a full day, even if it's a 10, 12, 14-hour day, and I can still come strong to my family.
Amazing. Allison, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible. So many amazing insights, book suggestions, stories. So I really appreciate you. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about you and, of course, a little bit more about the company as well?
I am very much so the wizard behind the curtain. I don't usually put myself out in public, but if you wanted to learn more, I am on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook. But if they want to learn more about the company, it's wirksmoving.com. That's WIRKS, moving.com. And if you're in the Atlanta area, then, we'd love to have you learn more about us. So
Amazing. I will leave everything down below here if you want to check out Allison's LinkedIn or the website. And if you're still listening to this conversation, you want to hear more conversations like this, please hit the subscribe button and I will see you on the next episode. Allison, thank you so much again for your time.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.